Okay, how the hell to even record this thing, eh? I mean, maybe you would just use that. Where to even start attempting to do this video? If you haven't guessed by the title, I will be stepping down from What Culture as a full-time employee. I'm leaving What Culture Gaming to do my own thing. However, I will still be doing things each week that hopefully you already enjoy. The Wind Up podcast, What Culture Gaming podcast, and the Untitled Banter pod, plus some news each week. Because honestly, Josh Brown cannot get rid of me that easily. I'm just ostensibly going into a self-employment thing, going into a freelance thing. And like I said, I'll be popping up here and there going forward. But it is very much the end of an era. And if you've been with us, or you've been with me since we first started doing YouTube videos way back in 2014, then you'll remember this lineup of people. And you'll remember that the way that things happened across the 2010s and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would take a minute to announce the fact that I'm going to be stepping away from What Culture full time, that I am launching my own stuff. Hopefully at this point the Patreon will be live, and there'll be a few things for people to go check out over there. I can't leave a link in this description because it's a business account. I'm not going to infringe anything. But hopefully you can get out there. You can search my name, Scott Tailford, and find the Patreon. And I would love to see you over there as well. Obviously, that would be incredible. But I did think, when looking back at my tenure at What Culture, I started writing October 2013, which is crazy. And did a few months just writing. It was pre-YouTube. It was pre all that stuff. And we used to have to do like 10 articles a week. We had old management back then that was like, you can do 2 articles a day, so do 10 a week. It was like 2 every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that was it. The business model was entirely writing based way back then. And even when I started, it was like me, the 3 owners, and one tech guy, because that was it. And we had there was a couple of other writers at the time, but they very quickly moved on. It was a bit of a rotation of people. But still, it was a ton of freelancers, very little staff, like 5 of us in this one tiny little office block way back then. And then I got stuck into doing film stuff, TV stuff, music stuff, offbeat stuff, which was all the rage back then, back when BuzzFeed was blowing up and it was, 10 things you only learn from, cleaning toilets for every day or whatever it is. We started doing the offbeat stuff, and then my gaming stuff is what blew up. So it was like, okay, you should do more gaming stuff. And they made me a gaming editor, which is the way that things went for like the rest of that year, for the end of that year, and then into 2014. And it was my idea to go like, hey, we should be doing YouTube stuff with this as well. Obviously can't take credit for the whole thing, obviously, but I did push for YouTube a lot way back then. And I remember one of the bosses at the time being like, we can't go on YouTube. We're not rock stars. Those were his exact words. And I was like, you don't need to be a rock star. The whole point is to talk about stuff on the YouTube, And that was the thing. So like back then it was just me, and then the really early videos from 2014, where I'm even worse on camera than I am right now, they are now sadly deleted from the annals of history, unless you remember them from back in the day. It was very much just me talking to cam, trying to do different things, trying to do some event coverage, things like that. Shout out to Rob Zach, who was someone that at the time went across and covered EGX in the UK. But that early era led to moving of office, What Culture getting bigger. There was a huge boom period for What Culture overall across the early 2010s, obviously. And then we hired, the now alumni, Peter Austin. Me and him did a lot of stuff together for ages, sort of circa 2015-ish, 2016-ish, in terms of being on camera. And then Jules moved up because he was a freelancer and he was down south. He moved up, and we hired Ben Potter as well. So shout out to Peter Austin, Ben Potter, obviously Jules Gill, the immortal, immaculate Jules Gill, who, like I said, that became like a 4 for a little while. Myself, Peter, Ben, and Jules. That was cool. And then like there was Josh Brown, there was you and Patterson, who were freelancers, and then they would come on board. And then we hired everybody here, like Rach came on board first, and then Ash came on board, and Rich came on board, and Osley came on board, who's a phenomenal editor. Obviously, so is Rich as well. And that became like the sort of the visual of What Culture Gaming, at least I would say so. For that particular era, the second half of the 2010s. And I've absolutely loved it. It's been phenomenal. We've done so much cool stuff, so many different events that we went to, so many people that we've talked to. I've loved all that stuff. It's genuinely ridiculous being recognized in person for being this YouTube thing. Going from just a dedicated writer all the way through to presenting stuff and blabbing about video games, and then people caring enough to be like, hey man, like, can I take a photo with you or whatever it is. Like, that stuff's honestly, like, I'm never going to get used to that ever. It's cool. And then, the channel itself exploded into doing the chatty faces and the streams, different events, different charity streams, things like that. And me and Josh started really loving doing news together. I think the very first video that me and Josh did together is me, him, and Jules on The Last of Us 2 Theories. It was years before it came out. It would have been one of the very first things Josh did when he came on board. So it would have been like 2017 or 2018. I'm pretty sure it's still on the channel, but you can see Josh, me and Jules said, dude, you're awesome. And I remember him saying like, I don't think I did very well. And we were like, you're good. You can totally do this. And I love the way that me and Josh have gone over the years. I love doing stuff with him. And we obviously put together so much news together, and it's awesome. And going forward, I don't really want that to change either. Like, either I'm going to try and get Josh on my stuff, or I'll pop up as and when I can on this channel. But yeah, like, I still want to do those things going forward. Also, it was around about here that we started really pushing for the podcast to be a thing. Which on my side, I absolutely have loved podcasts like my whole, as long as they've been around. Like, I remember listening to way back in 2007 when you had like the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, Carl Pilkington, XFM spin-off podcast. That was the whole thing, Apple back then, the iPod was new, the little small like thing, and they were looking for specific podcasts. I remember thinking the idea of this portable radio show was just super cool, and I always wanted to do the What Culture Gaming podcast. We couldn't convince the bosses for ages to let us do it, but once the channel had been going well enough, for a good long while, it was 2018, sort of late 2018 when they finally let us do it. And the very first episode is on Red Dead Redemption 2. But the whole thing back then, again, from the management at the time, was like, we don't want you spending too long doing the podcast. You could be making lists, you could be doing the news, you could be doing these things that we know will make us more money. Which, as a private company back then, you couldn't really argue with it. You could try, but it was a whole thing. And ultimately, we did manage to convince them where we would just ask, I especially, like, can I just do the podcast? Can I please just do a podcast? Or whatever. And eventually, one of the particular owners was like, fine, you can do your podcast, but it can only be 20 minutes long. And that was the whole thing for a while, was that we were allowed to do podcasts that were only 20 minutes long, because that was just long enough to get an ad break in, which satisfied the money side of it. So there was all that. That's why the initial run of podcasts was so short. It's because we were always pushing for them to be longer. And once you're talking to someone, you always end up going longer than 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But then we always had to be aware of, like, the boss is going to complain, he's going to can it if we go for too long. So we need to shorten these things up. But I love the podcast. It's one of my favorite things that we've ever put together. I love doing it every week. I love talking to Josh so much. Getting different people on. We've always had a different rotation of like a third chair kind of thing. Whether that's, shout out to the immaculate James Dowse. I haven't mentioned him to this point yet, but Dowse took up the role on the podcast for a little while as well. And every now and then we'll get Ewan on, we'll get Cy on. And shout out to Cy as well, good Lord. There's so many people, obviously, over the years that have come and gone through What Culture Gaming, and I've always been the sort of stalwart pillar thing in the background, trying to hold stuff up, being like, hey, how's it going? Here's this thing that, like, is a bit shaky sometimes, and sometimes it's okay. Come on board and do your thing and enjoy it. And obviously, to that end, shout out to Dan Durkin, who's editing this video right now, and shout out to Joe Johnston. He also brings a whole bunch of stuff together that we record and throw at him nearly every day. Man's responsible for nearly all the news videos that we do. So that's a whole thing that you get to see every day that directly comes from him. But podcast-wise, I'm just genuinely so proud of that thing. Looking at, the fact that we're in the top 5 in the UK most downloaded overall, and sometimes we're at number 1. If you check it on the day that an upload goes up, when the most people are grabbing that episode, sometimes we're number 1 in the UK for gaming, depending on Apple Podcasts or on Chartable or whatever, which is really, really cool. And if you look at the heat map that we get access to as hosters of as uploaders of the podcast, you can see that we have this global audience. Like, there's people listening in like South Korea and then over in America and whatever. I love that. I love that so much. I'm so appreciative that you all gave us a chance over the last few years, because that first episode was only in like 2018. And like I said, we were bound to 20-minute, 30-minute chunks for ages. And that didn't really change until, I crossed the pandemic, which was a whole thing in itself. And yeah, after that particular run, that went all the way into the pandemic. It was that started to sort of shake things up in terms of, people going like, okay, I've been doing this for a good few years. Do I want to do something else? And then we had, Ash went to PlayStation Access and was phenomenal over there. Jules went over to the Future Game Show, which is a whole separate channel that is owned by the people that came in and bought What Culture. We're owned by Future right now. There was all that stuff. And the rest of us just kind of kept going forward. Some other people left. They formed different jobs. Rich went to Frontier, which is incredible. Dude's on the game dev side of things now, which is so cool. And yeah, we kind of just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then I had a kid, which I've talked about before, at least especially on the podcast, which please subscribe to the What Culture Gaming podcast. And over time, it was just, I should probably try something else. Like, I've been doing this for so long. I've done this in different permutations for a decade plus. Like, my actual tenure is like 11 years and 8 months when I looked it up. So we're almost at 12 years. And yeah, the just over a decade kind of thing. And I feel like I've done a hell of a lot here, and I want to try something else. So like I said, there's going to be a Patreon. I'm going to be launching a couple of different shows, a gaming one, a wrestling one. I want to do some lifestyle stuff going forward, some dad stuff, some parent stuff. And we'll just see how it goes. But I was advised to make this video by the delightful Phil Chambers over on the wrestling side, who's now the head of, like, runs a whole bunch of stuff at What Culture, who was like, dude, you should do a leaving video because you've been around a long time. Like, I'm the longest serving member of What Culture at this point, which is kind of crazy because even the owners who brought me in have left, like, during that whole transition across the last couple of years to the future stuff. So yeah, so at this stage, I'm going to give something else a shot and we'll see how it goes. But genuinely, if you're still watching this and you have watched me over the years, you have my unending thanks. It's been a surreal life so far, and it's an honor to be seen by you. So thank you very much, and hopefully I will see you soon.
Oh God, everything reminds me of him.
It's okay, Joe. It's gonna be alright.
Okay, let's go and film this farewell.
So yeah, it's come to this. Oh, Captain, my Captain, Scott Tailford is leaving What Culture Gaming on a full-time capacity, still gonna be around here. But I just wanted to say, you know, we're all here to talk about Scott and what makes Scott so special and such a great friend and colleague. And I've had the privilege of knowing Scott now for just over 10 years. And it is Scott who I owe my career at What Culture to, because back when I was at university and he had just risen into the position of gaming editor at the site, he was firing off emails to his old university colleagues. And that filtered down to me. I wasn't even at Newcastle. I was at Northumbria. I wasn't even in your neck of the woods. And
You were the enemy.
Made its way to me. And then the bit in the Dark Knight happened where Scott got us around the pool table and he broke off the cues and me and Josh. But we, you know, from there, it was like an instant fit. It was just so great to talk to. Such a brilliantly friendly guy with shared interests who helped mentor me and helped develop me. And it eventually led to a full-time career in this crazy old business, which is ridiculous. So yeah, and it's just been amazing to be around Scott all this time, you know, seeing him grow himself as a colleague and as a person, you know, seeing all these different, you know, life milestones happen. And yeah, so it's sad not to have him around in the office at all times, but obviously super exciting to see him do all these other things that I know that he's going to smash because he's wanted to do them for a very long time. But yeah, the main thing is thank you, Scott. You're really, really cool. And give good hugs as well, which is pretty great. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, you kind of touched on something that I always think of. I said this to Scott recently as well, where it was like, when I started, I had worked from home for about a month before I came up to the office for the first time. And, you know, coming to here for the first time, everyone has it with every job. It's like, oh my God, the nerves, people already know people. I'm the outsider coming in. And I was sat in the break room, and as soon as he came in, he saw me, just like strode right over and sat down and started up a conversation with me. And then it was just, I was just like, oh, everything's gonna be okay. You know, and that's just kind of the way that it went. And for me, it's the friendship, but it's also the mentorship of, like, coming into this insane industry. And the thing about Scott is, even though it didn't always work, he's very much always been a proponent, I think, of just trust your gut on something. Just do something if it feels right to you, or it's worth a go, right? And it didn't always pay off, but I just love that about his approach to things. And I like to think that I kind of think that way about it too, because of him. And him going off and doing his own thing now, trusting your gut in a big way, and very proud of him for doing that.
Yeah, it says a lot that not only Ewan and Si have said, Scott, that, you know, you were one of the first people to talk to them, sometimes the first, and it was the same with me. almost. I think you may not remember, but you were definitely one of the first people when I started in 2018 who came over and had a prolonged conversation just about whatever with me. And it says so much that is just your natural state, is to welcome people who might be a bit new and might be a bit nervous. And it's such a valuable thing to be. And you know, you've been everything anyone could hope for as a colleague, and then as a manager, and, you know, most importantly as a friend there to kind of share takes and get like red-faced bickering about stuff and it always all being good. I think everyone has loved that for years and years and years, and it'll, you know, it'll continue through. And I've leant on a computer and turned it on.
The computer's crying as well. The computer off now.
But honestly, Scott, I mean, it softens the blow that we are still going to see you and you're going to be here, and I am very glad of that. But I think you've trusted us to continue what you created as a vision. And I really look forward to seeing what else you're going to be doing with your future visions. Love you, man.
Well, Scott, you know me. I'm a man of few words. See you later. See you later.
Oh,
well, how am I supposed to follow that? Funnily enough,
you know, they're so poignant and so elegant and just eloquent as well.
those are the 3 words everyone wants to hear in
It
it.
was really selfish that Dan took up so much of the runtime in this video, but I think it was worth it for that cutting tribute.
Every second, though, going on off what Dan said before then about being a man of few words. I'm a man of many words, and I'm still speechless now. As a yapper who has yapped with Scotty T, more than he's probably yapped with his family at this point. 8 hours a day for 8 years now, at the very least, doing podcasts, doing news, doing lists, just talking about everything off camera. I mean, there's no words in the language of English that will sum it up. I'm starting to do like sermons now. That's how emotional I am. Just kind of stop the tears from coming. But you know, there's no words to do it justice, man. Like, if I was relaying everything, I'd be on forever. Like you, and you know, you got me this job. You pushed me in every direction. You know, I didn't want to do voiceovers. You said do a voiceover. Didn't want to do a podcast. You said do a podcast. Didn't want to do the news. You said do the news. You said jump, and I said sort of how high for a long time, and it's got me to where I am now, and that's absolutely I don't know, reflective of not just, you know, your talent as someone who can carry someone like me for this long, but also just how much you inspire in other people as well. So love you for that, and I'll no doubt send you something more coherent in a couple of days. But even though, like these guys have said, you're not going to be around every single day, like, you must be the only man who I don't want to not spend that much time with. And it feels like a shame, even though we're going to be doing all the podcasts, doing all the news. I'm like, but there's going to be hours where he's not around. What's that about? I think I can speak for all of us here, where, as they've so eloquently put, much more eloquently than me, like how instrumental you've been, not just with us, but everyone who used to work here, everyone even who will work here after you will no doubt feel the effects of the Tailfordian method going down generations of this. No, I don't know, I'm rambling. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And I know I speak for everyone at home as well about how much we're going to miss you, having you on the channel as much as you are now.
That was such a wet kiss. That was so wet.
Right, I've got a good way to go into this. Josh Brown, tell me about hot hilfs in my area.
He says 2 seconds before dropping that joke, Josh Brown, I've got a good way to go into this.
Silent Hilf, mate.
Silent Hilfs.
Right, I'll pray to the gods. Hopefully this is a one take. Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
It is very soon. Depending on when you're seeing it, it might be sooner than it is for us right now.
It might be now.
It might be right now.
Either way, this is a very confident step forward and potentially a huge revolution of the industry if we start going into home console portable hybrids.
So yeah, in regards to the mouse stuff, Personally, I'm not too bothered about mouse controls in my console games, but maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Don't worry, we'll do it. How are you not Nintendo'd out? You already did 2 videos on it, didn't you?
I feel like I'm already sick of Mario Kart World, but that's a different thing.
That's a different podcast,
That's
eh?
a different thing.
Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus, which for me is great because I don't pay for either of them.
I do everything. The
I have
monthlies
Steam.
are
I don't have to pay to
killing
use my
me.
internet connection like this scrub here.
What am I doing? What am I doing? It's not now. Just read the notes that you've got. Well, I could do that. I don't know, but if we just film it and then we can always, at least we've got the footage and stuff. Right.
For this.
Fundamentally, what did Crash N Trilogy bring to the table that wasn't there before?
But that's the question. What is it? What do you?
It doesn't need to.
But then play the original. You're admitting it's the same game from 20 years ago. Knack at any point in their life. That's how bad Knack is.
The ghosts are trying to kill me for suggesting.
It's cool. We got it. Jinx.
Oh!
We
did it.
Culture game.
We did it. The man, the egg, the legend himself. If only your wit was as sharp and shiny as your head. But we'll see how you do.
Was it really?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Telltale did a Game of Thrones game.
Yeah, but I want it to to be good.
It was alright.
It was fine.
You
It
didn't
was
get
okay.
killed by Ramsay Bolton.
I'd like. Yeah.
Good. You like? I was thinking you'd say not as well. No, I don't. This is very phallic. This is very sexual.
Just never ask me to use a teleprompter ever again.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What Culture Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Tailford, joined by Ash Millman.
I didn't expect to come to this side.
I go left and right every time.
Do
Ash.
you?
Just
Why?
usually you sit on that side and Josh sits on that side.
not even
though
true.
he's determined that he doesn't.
Oh, is it Yakuza or Yakuza? It's Yakuza, but that's all right.
Okay, fair enough. Either way.
But I know that the new Guardians of the Galaxy deserves your love. That thing is actually surprisingly brilliant, and it was only killed because the Avengers game was so bad. I feel like the stink of the Avengers game carried over to Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I keep trying them, but it's just nothing gets up there. The Sage 2 got pretty close.
What Culture Tailford?
Kirby?
Kirby's correct!
Yeah!
Scott Tailford advances through to the grand final.
Yes, because you pretty much are a cipher for the audience who might also believe get suckered into such things being talked about.
I did.
So the rumor is, like I said, 29th of March next year. I look really short here.
A lot of claret.
Hello.
Hello.
Have you got the news?
Have you got the news, sir?
Commander Keen was an unlockable skin in which 2020 video game?
Oh God, Doom Eternal.
It was Doom Eternal.
Just bring it all on. I don't care.
So that was Scott.
Street Fighter 2. Well, Street Fighter.
You said Street Fighter. All right, that's
Thank you.
fine.
Ethos that I came away with was that they played it fairly safe. And it's not to say that the story doesn't go places, because it really, really does. I just can't talk about them because of spoilers.
Hunt Showdown. Is the
Hunt
one
Showdown.
that I
They're all the same to me, and because I don't like any of them. But
That's really good. It's really good. Play Hunt.
he keeps trying to tell me this.
I mean, would you trust Ray Fiennes?
I wouldn't, which plays into the thing, but I wouldn't trust Daniel Day-Lewis either. And now you're just left sitting, watching an AI do it too, knowing that you can't change anything about the loadout, knowing that you'll have to reset the whole ladder or use a skip fight token to get by, if you happen to have one. That chip thing in the middle, if you can see that, feels... I mean, like, to me, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. Right. Straight left.
But the reality of owning it, for the most part, we've been playing up-resed PS4 games. It wasn't until Returnal came out that you played something that was made for the PS5.
Which is the stupid side of it. Just, oh my God, one man losing his mind at the sentence that I'm about to say.
Yeah, a lot of good things.
Next question at some point will be, don't worry about it, text getting there. Questions coming on the way.
Josh,
Sorry. I've got a hairy mouth.
the rules are very clear.
Yeah, you've abandoned them. Drew Lev. You have abandoned my child.
Two teams drew Lev, therefore neither score points. Fuck Geralt. Fuck Geralt, not in The Last of Us.
It's when he
I'm
punches the guy's
legally
jaw.
correct. I can go to a court of law. I'm that correct on this. Neither team scores a point. Team 3.
see Lev.
Pals.
It's got some sort of brain power underneath, and he's been thinking about.
Top shot mop.
He's been thinking about some.
It's sort of, to be honest, I've been talking about this all day. And Scott keeps batting me away at every possible point.
I
know
did
you
no
don't.
such thing.
He does.
That thing is surgically laser focused to be my shit. I love it. And
His salacious crumb, if you will.
yes, to some degree, for the slightly less enjoyable laugh.
Yes.
And so the whole thing with that, who
whoever you are,
Yep.
this guy.
So that's the only thing that stops this thing being perfect. The models are great fun to build. All the cuts, everything's done with laser precision. Indie Makes It Big style studios that have been going for a while, but I feel like they really came on the map with Layers of Fear, and I absolutely love Observer as well. Ooh, it's heating up.
Oh! 2 down.
We're up. I described the Batmobile as in Arkham Knight as driving a 10-foot erection. Because I was, I don't know.
What?
I was just like, it's what it felt like.
Oh, we'll see.
It's over now. Don't ever.
It's over now.
Don't ever give me Suicide Squad.
I don't want it.
The real Suicide Squad was Rocksteady. Good.
This is really good though.
I know, I really like this ice cream.